Will Sir Radnik win the succession war, or will another prince be the last one standing? With each prince having unique circumstances involving their Nen beasts, Hatsu, guards, and connections, it can be tough to decide who will win, especially with everything else going on. Despite all that uncertainty, I will attempt to prove that one prince alone will come out on top above the rest. So hop aboard the Black Whale, grab yourself a seat, subscribe, and let's set sail on some conclusions. Before we get too far, we need to first establish the rules of the succession war, as these are crucial in crowning a winner. At its core, the war is to decide the next successor to the throne of Kakin, which is fairly straightforward at first glance. According to the current king Natsubi, the sole survivor is the heir to the throne, which seems pretty straightforward until he says that it's up to your interpretation. Obviously, from the word survivor, we can conclude that at least one prince needs to be left standing, but what I don't think some realize is that the king is included in that list of people that they need to beat. In chapter 371, we see the king has filled a room with 14 coffins surrounded by Nen inscriptions. If we remember how to count, there are clearly 6... What's that? Okay, interesting. So there are 14 princes and 14 coffins, which has left many to theorize. Who's going in the final coffin? Given the prince's genuine desire for an heir to continue his rule over Kakin, there are 13 coffins for the princes and 1 for himself, potentially leaving the heir to have to fight the king in the final stages to prove their worth. Besides that creepy coffin situation, the remaining rules of the succession war are basically all politics. There are legal consequences to killing others, which makes sense considering discreet killing is what governments do best. Most killing thus far has been done through Nen abilities, given the judicial party and army's rule. But it seems likely that the rule will crumble away shortly, either leaving the Zodiacs to step in as the new law, or for utter chaos to ensue. Unfortunately, you can't just step out of this bloodbath, as participation is not only mandatory, it's required. Some may even say it's obligatory or compulsory. Books aside, all princes need to participate, as leaving will result in death. When Princes Kacho and Fugetsu attempted to escape, they soon learned that even attempting to leave the Black Whale was considered forfeiting. So now that we've established that it's a secret fight to the death with no escape, who's going to win? Actually, the better question is, who isn't going to win? Well, let's start off with the dead princes, which include Kacho, Sale Sale, and Momose. Last time I checked, dead people can't win wars, but I'm no warologist. Now, 11th Prince Fugetsu is likely following close behind. It's unlikely as to why it exactly occurred, but last time we saw Prince Fugetsu, she was cursed in a state close to Zetsu. There are a few explanations to this, as she could be suffering from a curse from Camilla's have-nots, or this could be punishment for attempting to leave the Black Whale. And with only one Nen exorcist under Camilla's self-righteous control, she is basically dead. Now that leaves 10 candidates, who are even technically contenders. Well, that's a bit generous, because 2 of those princes I wouldn't even consider contenders. Like 6th Prince Tyson, who is literally anticipating her own death. Tyson's guardian spirit bestows happiness to anyone who reads the Book of Tyson, allowing her to siphon aura from her bodyguards. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't potential to see the full extent of her spirit beast power before she dies. I mean, the Book of Tyson is her last effort to make an impact on the world, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some post-mortem Nen involved eventually. But she doesn't condone murder, and she just doesn't let her guards talk to anyone out of sheer jealousy, and for that, Tyson is definitely going to end up dead. The other prince who has no chance of winning is 5th Prince Tubeka. Despite the last panel we got from Tagashi establishing an alliance between Tubeka, Prince Wobble, and Karapika, there's really nothing protecting her. Her Nen ability needs a partner just to make simple poisons and chemicals, which in a race with princes who can see the future is really not going to get her far. On top of that, she is overly cautious to a fault, likely due to her bad social skills. She thinks very poorly of princes like Benjamin and Zhangli, but still wants to ally with Sir Radnik of all people. And with Prince Benjamin's assassins closing in on her, it's only likely that she'll end up dead. Now we're moving on to some princes that could potentially have a chance at winning, but only if something massively changes in their current state. Some may be surprised to hear this, but as lazy as Prince Lazarus is, we have to acknowledge some facts about the man. He has competent hunters like Basho, a Nen beast that sets traps for his assailants, and a mafia family he funds that could come to his rescue when he's in danger. Do I think he's gonna win? No! But does he have a better chance than Tyson and Tubeka? Without a doubt. Either way, he is still ending up dead. Now, I'm sure people wouldn't be surprised in me saying that first Prince Benjamin will make it far. He's not only established himself as a dominant force on the Succession War, but he has a Hatsu and a personal army to back it up. Now, couple that with a spirit beast with unknown powers, and I don't think anyone would argue with you if you concluded he would be the next king. I unfortunately love to argue and violently disagree with this point. While his budget version of Krollo's Hatsu is great, it comes with a great flaw. Prince Benjamin needs other people to help him stay alive and keep him mentally afloat. So without characters like Balsamico by his side, he is prone to make rash decisions that will likely cause him to lose the war entirely. And for that, I believe he will end up dead. Now, 5th Prince Zhongli is all around a fantastic fit to be king, and I genuinely believe characters like he or Benjamin would make great kings. Much like Prince Lazarus, he has a mafia family to call upon and a Nen ability that will likely become a top contender once it becomes fully realized. He has little to no public enemies and is playing the long game, much like the current king had done himself. And despite his lack of knowledge in Nen, he is drastically attempting to close the disadvantage through discussions with real Nen users like Karapika and his guards. All that being said, we really don't have anything to say or conclude that he would win at the moment. As others seem to have significantly more powerful Nen beasts and teams, it seems likely that he will end up dead. Now for some honorable mentions of princes who will die, but at the moment it seems impossible to kill. We need to remember Togashi's storytelling often shows characters overcoming impossible scenarios to circumvent the reader's expectations. Think about the death and later resurrection of Hisoka, or killing of the unkillable king of the Chimera Ants, each moment surpassing of what we thought was possible. The first obvious impossible prince is Camilla, whose Nen ability, Cat's Name, allows her to use postmortem Nen to steal the life energy from those she kills and subsequently reviving her. It's essentially the no you of Nen abilities. Much like many of the impossible odds that people have circumvented in the past, she could be killed at any time by any of the princes. And to my knowledge, being murdered leads to many being dead. The other impossible prince is 13th Prince Mariam, whose spirit beast has created some sort of temporal space where no one can enter room 1013 and attack him. So while Camilla's ability is the no you of Nen abilities, Mariam has the overpowered, not odd Nen beast. And with every piece of slang I use, I feel myself drifting farther from the sun. Anyhow, with an OP Nen beast and esteemed hunters under his employ, he should be a shoo-in to win it all. Here's the problem. What happens when it's only down to 2 princes? He and his team are immediately losing to any of the fully realized princes, and for that, he's dead. That leaves us with 3 final princes. Why these 3? Not only do they have the best chances of surviving, but thematically, it makes the most sense. Saradnik, dare I say the ultimate Nen user, is our main antagonist, who is mostly kept to himself, like Zhongli, giving him time to become a fearsome opponent. While people have been concerned about politics or building relationships, he's been able to kick back and learn Nen to mastery in a short period of time. The only person who has even attempted to fight him has been his guard Theta, who is one lie away from being his pawn. Then there's Hockenberg, who is a goody two-shoes turned monster for the sake of destroying the monarchy, who has recently been awakened to a powerful Nen ability to control and kill others with an invisible Nen arrow. Hockenberg has been working in the shadows for a while now, cooking up something extremely devious. Finally, that leaves 14th Prince Wobble, who is guarded by one of the greatest Nen users this side of the Dark Continent, Kurapika. Now Togashi will likely be taking a similar path as he did with the Chimera Ant arc, pitting good against evil, and showing the goodness of evil and the despair that good is capable of. Basically, I'm thinking of a JoJo's Battle of the Century, King Crimson versus Star Platinum. All jokes aside, Saradnik is being built as a final contender. He's the first prince we meet, he has the eyes that Karapika seeks, he funds the unstoppable Hali family. He is quite literally the final boss of half of the storylines we're currently following. Now, Hockenberg has been the antithesis to this idea since the very beginning. There's no shame in it, but Hockenberg is a goody two-shoes who only recently has decided to take the succession war seriously after learning his anti-monarch sentiments will only get him so far. It's not outside the realm of possibility to see him in full control of some of the other princes, or something else terrifying given the state of his current terrifying abilities. Which leads us to a fight between Saradnik, a great evil who just wants to learn, and Hockenberg, a great man who has to make unthinkable choices. Wait a minute, isn't that just with whoever is remaining to face off against and lose to Prince Wobble of all people, due to the tactical mind of Karapika? With either situation, we'll see Wobble come out on top, as he holds Chekhov's Nen Beast and main character syndrome in tow. Saradnik vs. Wobble will end with a Karapika win for story purposes, finding a resolution to the Scarlet Eyes, or an even more likely awakened and heavily allied Hockenberg versus the King, leaving Karapika on cleanup. But who do you think is gonna win? Do you think Wobble is a shoo-in for the next king of Kakin, or do you believe characters like Tyson have a chance? Either way, put it in the comments. Thanks for watching and stay curious.